when you're given a trigonometric equation and you're given a range of values for x, so x is limited between 0 and 360 degrees, each of these has more than one solution. So there's the primary or the principal solution that you'll get from your calculator. So for example, for sine x equals half, if you put that in your calculator and you take the inverse sine, you'd get 30 degrees. But 30 degrees is not inside that range, so it's less than 0. The same with cosine. The inverse cosine of negative half will give you negative 60, which is outside this range, so that's not an acceptable solution. For a negative tan inverse, the same again. You would end up with minus 45 degrees, and that's outside this range, so we can't accept that solution. So what do we do when we have solutions that are unacceptable? Well, first of all, we need to find all the solutions and then eliminate the ones that we can't include. So we've already eliminated x1, but for sine, there's always a second solution, which is 180 minus the first solution. So my second x is 180 minus my first x. So 180 minus 30 is 210, and 210 is within that range. So that's fine. Now to find my second solution, because my first solution was rejected, I simply add 360 to my rejected solution, because the period of sine is 360. So by adding 360, we find our second solution. So 360 added to my negative 30, that gives me 330, and 330 is acceptable. So the two solutions for this equation are x2 and x3. The same applies for cosine. So once you've found the first solution, the second solution for a cosine is 360 minus the first solution. So 360 minus 60 is 420. Unfortunately, that too is unacceptable. So we still need to find two solutions that are acceptable. So we can do two things. We can add 360 to the first solution, or we can subtract 360 from the second solution. Those should give us our first and second answers. So if I add 360 to my rejected solution, that will give me 300, and 300 is acceptable. And if I subtract 360 from 420, that gives me 60 degrees, and again, that is acceptable. So I have two solutions, 300 and 60 degrees, as solutions for this equation within this range. And finally, for our tangent, the minus 45 was unacceptable, but the subsequent solutions, the next solutions, are found by adding 180 to my original solution. So if you add 180 to minus 45, you get 135, and that is an acceptable solution. And what you can do is you can add 180 again to tangent to x2 to give you x2. So 180 plus 135 gives us 215, and that too is an acceptable solution. So these are my two acceptable solutions for this. So for sine and cosine, you can add multiples of 360 or subtract multiples of 360 to find your subsequent solutions. For tan, you only add 180. You keep adding or subtracting 180 to find your solutions. So that's how you deal with trigonometric equations where you have a limited range and the primary solution that you get from your calculator is unacceptable.